on the swamp rat today. First got the car, when I bought it, it needed brakes on it. I put a set of front brake pads on it, but she needs some rear brake pads, and we sure don't want to be getting out there on the track and not having good enough brakes. So today we're just going to go ahead and start tearing it down. We're going to pull the rotors off, and we're going to have the rotors turned down and put some new pads on it. And that'll be the next of our projects before we start moving on with our performance gains. Once you break them loose, usually just come right out real easy. Keeper. Clean all this up really good. Now, if we were just doing a brake pad install, we could just slip our new ones. Of course, we take the slack out of them, slip our new ones back in there. But when we do stuff on the swamp rat, we want to try to do them right. They look like they got some decent wear left on them, but they're making too much noise. Into our next step. Pull it completely off of there. I want to get something to tie this up because we'll be leaving it while I carry the rotors to get turned. I don't want to take a chance of damaging these lines, falling or hanging or stressing them. They probably would be fine, but that's just not like the way we like to do things. A couple tie wraps, we'll just tie wrap it up. Really light, but still not a good idea. Yeah. Let's loosen this rotor. That one torque screw right there. All right, before we take that torque screw off, what I like to do is to mark it, just to give it a location when it's tight. You can do it. There's actually some white paint left on it from where it was done from the factory. But we'll make her out of it. There we are. Let's see how bad she's stuck on there. Oh yeah, she's coming right off. Oh yeah. Yep, there's where the emergency brake is. While we've got it off, we're going to do some adjustment to this, because the 5th gens are known for, which this is the LS3 M6, and in other words, it has the 6-speed in it. They're known for having to pull the emergency brake way up for them to engage. So we're going to do a little adjustment, because these pads look fine, or these shoes, should I say, they look fine. So before we put them back together, we're going to do some cleaning up on them. Make sure this adjuster turns, because that's what's going to adjust the tension on how much they come in and out, and how much tension is actually on the inner drum. And we'll get that adjusted to where we don't have to pull that emergency brake up so hard in order to have it engage. Alright folks, we got everything kind of blowed off. Got parts cleaned up a little bit. Laid them up in here, put some bolts back in, made sure everything was in its right place, because like I said, we're going to have these rotors turned and put back on with some brand new brake shoes. Or excuse me, pads. What I did too was marked these rotors to make sure, you know, that they go back in the same spot. And what we're going to do now, we'll go ahead and pull the other side down. If you guys can see, that's the way the sun is kind of washing it. We'll pull this other side down, and we'll get them off, get them turned, and then we'll get you guys back and get them put back on, carry down the road, and see if we got rid of that squeal. What's up folks, this is LS Lover here with a Swamp Rat. In the last part of the video, I was talking about pulling these back rotors off of the Camaro to have them turned. I ran into a problem with that. I guess for all the local machinery and mechanics around here, they don't have a machine that will turn these rotors. They're just a hair too tall. Now the front ones I had turned, but evidently the back ones are a little larger. So the rotors themselves aren't warped. They work just fine. It's just it was time for the car to have brakes put on it. It's never had brakes put on it before, so it's just that time. So rather than go out and buy a brand new set when we can invest our money in other horsepower additions, we can do a little redneck ingenuity. What I'm going to show you guys is I'm going to put these rotors on here. Now, mind you, if you don't have any kind of mechanical background or experience, I don't recommend this for anyone, you know, just trying this out in their yard, because there is a little bit of difficulty to it. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to put these rotors on here, and I'm going to just snug them up with a spacer and my lug nuts. And I'm going to crank the car here on the lift, and I'm going to put it in gear. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this little small side grinder with a heavy grit flapper wheel on it, and I'm going to knock them edges off of it.
and just go over it real quickly with this heavy flapper wheel, and then I'm gonna go back with a finer flapper wheel just to knock that glaze off of the rotor, and then we'll be able to use it. Because like I said, that they are not grooved up, they're not warped in any way, and I just don't see spending that money when we can spend it in another fashion. Oh yeah, that's exactly what we're looking for. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go over it with a little bit finer one, which it probably wouldn't matter that much, but I'm just going to do it for sake of doing it right. And then what we're going to do is we're going to flip this over to the other side. So I'll get it changed over to the other side. We'll pop you guys back on and we'll go again. One note, you guys, when you flip these over to the other side, I don't know if it really matters or not, but I'm going to try to keep this line up hole straight, and I would not recommend tighten this much because you probably can't see it on the camera, but there's a bevel in here, and that bevel lets it go flush up in there. Now all we're doing is just knocking the leading edge off this, so we don't have to have it tight, we just want it somewhat safe. Couple rusty nuts, spacers. Barely touch. Just to make sure that they're sound. Now let's give it a try on this side. Alright folks, now we're going to talk about something that I haven't really seen on YouTube and the internet a whole lot. I've seen it on some forums, but as far as any kind of video footage, I have not seen. A lot of people asked about the 5th gen, especially if you got the LS3 M6 straight shift, manual, however you want to put it. They have problems with the emergency brake. They say that it goes up too high for it to engage. It's loose feeling. I thought that I would have to order new shoes because inside of this assembly, hang on a minute, let me get this rotor. Okay, inside of this rotor assembly, there is a drum. Alright, here's what you see on the outside of the rotor. When you turn it around, the side that goes facing toward the axle, there's a drum. You can see a little small drum. That drum rests up on these shoes right here. Alright, when I pulled it apart, to be honest, I expected these to be worn out. They had not ever been making any kind of contact, so I can see why. So what we're going to do is we're going to adjust this thing. Okay, rather than put the tire on and I'll put it all together to check for friction. I know the car well enough now that I feel like I can adjust it by feel, and I'm going to show you guys how I'm going to do that. There is a tensioner assembly right here. It's an adjuster assembly, excuse me, that you can turn. Now this one here already has marks, I guess, where they took it apart, or when they put it together at GM, whatever, how they mark it. But when you turn this, it threads out. And it's smashing the drum out, therefore making a contact patch with the inside of this drum. So what I've done is I've just turned it one click. It ain't gonna take much. Those threads look decent size. And then I'm gonna put this thing on here. I'm gonna go in the car and I'm gonna pull the emergency brake and see how it feels. And that's how I'm gonna adjust these. So here we go. Let's put this thing on. Line up tension hole. Emergency brake. As you can see, that only took just a little bit of adjustment. It doesn't take much. I wouldn't go wild and go screwing it out. There's not a whole lot of clearance. So that's how you adjust it. If you're doing brakes on the back, why not go ahead and fix that little problem? Alright, now that we've got the rotors on, I'm going to tighten my keeper screws up. Now you noticed before we showed the little black line we marked on the keeper screw. All I'm going to do is get it back to where that point was at. That way I know it's not over torqued. That would help if I had something to poke it with. Alright, perfectly in line. We know it's just tight enough to hold it on there. Now we'll do the other side, stick the wheels on, start putting the brakes together. Next thing we're going to do is go ahead and put the caliper back on. First we have to undo the clip. Future video, I am going to take these calipers off, clean them really good, and paint them. So you need some attention. Okay. not going to use a torque wrench. We're going to do what they call the Ugga-Dugga scale. I'll just snug them up so I can get an even pull. Just put some weight on it. One Ugga-Dugga. Two Ugga-Dugga. Three Ugga-Dugga. Let's go four. One Ugga-Dugga. Two Ugga-Dugga. Excuse me. Three. There's something about brakes, you want them to be tight. Let's see. The wind's affecting you guys. I want to see these new brake pads are going to fit in there. That's always good. I kind of knew they were going to be snug. So, I'm going to pull these things out a little bit. Now let's try again. Oh, look there. Like a glove. Put a little brake pad lubricant here. That's that side. Adjuster there too. Like a glove. Now that we've cleaned up our parts, I want to start putting the pin and keeper assembly back in there. And what I normally do is start the bottom first. And here I am doing it backwards. Sorry folks. It needs to come in from the back. So first we'll make sure both brake pads can line up. Put this thing in here. It's kind of neat the way it's like they design them. What that thing does is it pressures and holds these brakes off when you let pressure off of them. The other one started. All right. Just going to give them a little tap home, and you'll know because they'll come out even with these holes. that's it. Pretty much all we gotta do is put the wheel back on. Go have some fun. Appreciate you guys watching. If you guys would give me a like or subscribe. I'd like to grow this channel. This is something I really enjoy doing, and I really enjoy helping others, so it's two things into one. So if you'd hit that like button, give me a subscribe, I promise we will bring this channel up and help all that need help in the performance world. Just might not have that big fat of a pocketbook. You can do it on a budget. Thanks, guys.